Welcome to the deep dive. You give us the sources, we cut through the noise, we deliver those concentrated insights straight to you. Today, we're diving into the psychology behind optimization. Why certain promises about success are just, well, impossible to resist for the modern learner. And our source material, it's super short this time, but really potent. It's basically just the title and maybe some snippets from a potential bestseller. It's called Secrets of Daily Success Habits. 5 daily habits successful people never tell you. Okay, so our mission today, it's really to unpack the premise of that title. What's it promising? Why does it grab us? And what does that say about, the whole pursuit of optimizing everything? For someone like you, always hunting for that efficient knowledge shortcut, this title, it's like the ultimate signal flare. It's not just promising success, it's promising the hidden map, right? Suggesting huge results aren't about years of grinding, but finding that one simple exclusive lever. Okay, let's get into this because that title is, wow, it's a masterclass in psychological marketing.
It really is. What's fascinating is just the boldness of promising hidden knowledge now, in an age where we're practically drowning in self-help advice. You can Google 10,000 articles right now on how to be successful, easily. Yet this source comes along and suggests the real difference, the key distinction between the truly successful and everyone else is the exclusivity of their routine. It implies you're not looking for the stuff everyone knows. You want the insider track.
Yeah, that desire for the insider track, it's incredibly powerful, isn't it? And let's start with that first bit of the title, the part we maybe skip over because the secret part is so shiny. Daily habits. We always hear success stories focused on the huge breakthrough, the IPO, the acquisition, the sudden fame. But this title pulls our focus right back to the repetitive stuff, the almost boring consistency needed to get there. Why do we always overlook the mundane for the dramatic? Why does that happen?
Well, because the consistent work, the stuff that actually leads to compounding success, it's just not very cinematic. It's, frankly, boring. Think about our cognitive biases, right?
Yeah.
We'd rather hear about the lottery win than the marathon training schedule. And if we connect this to the bigger picture, the reason successful people lean on daily habits is that they eliminate the need for motivation.
Okay, tell me more about that. Eliminating motivation.
Yeah, motivation, it's fickle, it's emotional, comes and goes, it's a finite resource, really. But a daily habit, that becomes automated. It's just a procedure. Successful people aren't sitting around waiting to feel inspired to do their core tasks. They've proceduralized it. It's just scheduled. Non-negotiable, breathing or brushing your teeth. They just do it every single day. Doesn't matter if they slept 8 hours or 3. And that consistency creates that, geometric compounding effect. But it lacks drama. It lacks flair. So that's probably why these core daily routines are often never told in the big public stories. They're just too predictable, too mundane for the spotlight.
So you're saying the secret isn't some exotic biohack or a super complex financial trick. The secret is just the unwavering commitment to a potentially boring routine. And because maybe we don't want to hear that the answer is just do the boring work every day, we prefer it when authors frame it as hidden knowledge. It's almost comforting in a way.
Oh, it's a massive comfort. Absolutely. It lets the learner focus on consumption, right? Finding the next secret rather than on implementation. Because if the key is just consistency, well, that puts all the burden, all the effort back on you, the individual. But if the key is a secret habit, that implies that once you find the secret, the effort will somehow be easier or more justified because the routine itself has some kind of magic. Which brings us perfectly to that second, maybe the most powerful psychological lever in the title, secrets never tell you. Why does our brain instantly assign so much more value to information just because it's labeled exclusive or guarded?
That's the scarcity principle just running wild, isn't it? If general advice is everywhere, show up, network, work hard, we automatically downgrade its value, even if it's actually true. But if some high-performing person is actively guarding a routine, our brain immediately assumes, okay, that must be the 1% knowledge, the specific key that unlocks everything the other 99% are missing out on. It promises access, doesn't it? Like a shortcut to the inner circle, bypassing all the hard work.
Precisely. The implied value just skyrockets because the knowledge is supposedly guarded, hard to get. And this brings up a really important question for you, the learner who's drawn in by this hook. Are you searching for the secret content, like the specific action itself, or are you maybe searching for a motivation bypass, a way around the effort?
Ooh, that changes the game completely, doesn't it? Yeah. Because if the content of the secret is genuinely revolutionary, okay, maybe the search is worthwhile. But if the secret is really just, say, a radical, unwavering commitment to waking up at 4 a.m. for deep work when everyone else is asleep, well, then the value isn't in the knowledge that's common knowledge. It's purely in the execution, the discipline.
And that's the cognitive trap right there. The source promises access, a shortcut to the information, but it doesn't promise ease of execution. It can't.
Yeah.
The real masters, they understand that the value of their routine comes from the consistency that other people just aren't willing to maintain. It's not necessarily the novelty of the action itself.
Right. It's like the difference between knowing how to play a perfect piano sonata, reading the notes and actually practicing the scales 10 hours a day for 20 years. You can buy the sheet music. The knowledge is basically free, but the actual performance, that's locked behind the daily habit.
That's a fantastic analogy. Yeah. The title taps into our desire for the secret sheet music, the one nobody else has seen, hoping that'll somehow let us skip the practice. And we see this trap everywhere in success literature, don't we? This constant hunt for the next optimizing tip, the next hack, which actually stops people from just settling down and mastering the basic foundational habits they probably already know work.
Okay, so if the scarcity hook is the bait, then the specificity is like the comfortable landing spot. Let's talk about that third really powerful lever this title pulls, that wonderfully specific number, 5 habits. For the learner, especially someone maybe feeling swamped by information overload, decision fatigue, that number, 5 foot, feels incredibly comforting, doesn't it?
Well, that quantification is absolutely critical. It makes it feel actionable. Yeah. It directly addresses what psychologists call analysis paralysis. I mean, think about the typical self-help shelf, right? It's demanding you overhaul your finances, change your entire diet, meditate, exercise, journal, network, read 50 books a year. It's just this impossible checklist of 50 different things you supposedly need to fix all at once.
Yeah, it feels totally insurmountable, like climbing Everest without oxygen. But 5 fit, that feels manageable. It suggests that constraints, having fewer options, can actually be a path to freedom.
Absolutely. The modern attention economy has kind of trained us to value distillation, hasn't it? We don't want the raw, messy data dump. We want the prioritized summary. Look, successful people probably have dozens of routines, right? From how they handle their emails to their specific exercise goals, tiny things. But this source problem is a ruthless distillation. It's saying, here are the essential few, the mission-critical ones.
So how would you even define an essential habit versus like a peripheral one in this kind of context? What makes the cut for the top 5?
Well, we have to assume, based on the promise, that 5 represents the synthesized core, the habits that generate really disproportionate returns. The 80-20 rule applied to routines, maybe? An essential habit here would likely be one that, if you removed it, the whole performance system starts to wobble or even collapse. For instance, if habit number 1 is deep work before checking email, taking that one away might immediately derail habits 2, 3, 4, and 5, because your prime energy and focus are just gone before you even start the important stuff. So the source is basically promising to define the underlying scaffolding, not just, the decorative trim on top.
Right. It provides the focus you need to avoid that cognitive overload we were talking about. If someone tells me, optimize your entire life, I just freeze up. Where do I even start? But if they say, implement these 5 specific daily secrets, suddenly the path looks clear, focused, achievable. Less risky, too, because it's a short list. It takes this huge, complex idea of high performance and makes it digestible, like 5 specific bullet points.
Exactly. It's a structure that really honors the learner's limited time and cognitive bandwidth. The promise isn't just information. It's prioritized information. And the overall value proposition of the source really is that success is knowable, it's predictable, and it's encapsulated in this small, actionable list.
Okay, so let's bring this all together then. What does this whole conceptual deep dive mean for you, the listener, who's looking for that efficient knowledge shortcut? This title, it's promising 3 incredibly powerful things, isn't it? Actionable specificity, just 5 items. Exclusivity, these are secrets. And compounding returns, because they're daily.
Yeah, it really confirms the blueprint for what makes modern success literature so effective, so appealing. And regardless of what the 5 habits actually are, which, again, we unfortunately don't know from the source provided, our deep dive confirms that the structure itself holds the real psychological power. To break through all the noise today, knowledge needs to feel distilled, specific, actionable, and crucially, focused on that almost unshakable consistency.
And that's our deep dive for today. We've really analyzed the irresistible pull of a source that promises these actionable, secret daily routines that promise to manage that cognitive load and cut through the endless drone of generalized advice out there.
And while, the excerpt only gave us the title, We've thoroughly picked apart the powerful frame it creates. We understand why this psychological structure is just so magnetic to anyone seeking optimization. It promises efficiency and that feeling of exclusivity. So maybe let's end with a final provocative thought for you to mull over. We've talked a lot about how the greatest secret might just be the consistency itself, not the specific action. But think about this. If the most successful people do keep their best habits secret, maybe true optimization isn't about finding and adopting some universal known habit like simple discipline. Perhaps it's about applying that discipline to a highly personalized hidden routine, one that you create specifically for your own goals, your own weaknesses.
Ah, interesting. So you mean maybe the real competitive advantage isn't found in the books or the podcasts, but in the routines you are building and executing in private, the ones you've kind of reverse engineered based on your unique life, your unique goals.
Exactly. When you stop searching quite so hard for the universal secret someone else holds and start building your own personalized, non-negotiable daily procedures, that might be where the true, sustainable competitive advantage actually lies. Go think about the habits maybe you aren't telling anyone about.